Welcome back to the show. I'm so happy to have you here. Happy New Year. Before we dive into this episode, which is probably unlike any that I've ever done, where you get to meet feisty Fabienne and see me get on my soapbox about something that really stirred me, I want to personally invite you to something special. We talk in this episode today about avoiding burnout. If your business is already successful, but it's running entirely on your shoulders, this is for you. On Friday, January 16th, I am hosting a free 4-hour virtual working session that I call Scale to Seven Figures Without Burnout. And I would love to have you join us if you would like to scale to seven figures and get your life back. I just want to be clear that this isn't a webinar that you half listen to while answering your email. This is the luxury of real thinking time. This is where we work together on your business. I am there with you. You will work on your business with me with a workbook in hand, and I will walk you through my proven 8 leverage activators, the exact framework that I have used for over 25 years to guide women to go from overwhelmed at 6 figures to sustainably having a 7-figure a year business with 14 weeks off per year. When you join me for this Scale to Seven Figure working session, you will leave with a filled in workbook, a clear roadmap, and most importantly, the clarity to finally see how scaling without burnout is actually possible for you in your business. Because let's be honest, you cannot scale your business in between client appointments. You have to remove yourself from your day to day. And this 4-hour session with me, the one that's coming up, is the space to do it properly with my expert guidance, and again, at no charge. It is also the very first step to working with me more closely in case you're interested in seeing how I work with my clients to reclaim your time, your energy, and pay yourself so much more without sacrificing your life. So if this speaks to you, you can join us at boldheart.com/events. Events is plural, boldheart.com/events. And I also will put a link in the show notes. I would truly love to have you there. Okay, on to this episode. I hope you love it. Hello, dear sister, and welcome back to the Fabienne Show. Happy New Year. After a few beautiful unplugged weeks in my business, and actually a week of being really sick, which you might still hear in my voice, I have had plenty of time to reflect and to journal and to reconnect with what matters most. And today I have a tender and honest conversation that I'd like to have with you. It's less of a strategic podcast episode today. It's more of a reclamation episode, and maybe we're setting the tone for what I'd like to share more with you in 2026. And it's about something that clearly hit a nerve, because a reel that I posted a few weeks ago about hiring a personal assistant or a house manager or a concierge, I posted it on Instagram and Facebook, and it went absolutely viral. Over 1.1 million views as of today, and close to 1,000 comments. And they were so divided. There were so many emotions that I could not have anticipated. And the message of the reel was simple. I was basically saying, if you're a full-time entrepreneur, you should not be expected to carry 100% of the domestic load at home. And I shared that you deserve some support, not just in your business, but at home also. And some women in the comments responded with gratitude, saying, "Oh my gosh, I need this. Why didn't I even know this existed? I didn't even know this was allowed. How can I get a concierge?" Some women said, "How can I become a concierge?" And others, well, let's just say that the backlash was fierce. I received comments calling me lazy, entitled, and even a bad wife and mother. I was called a rich bee. I'm not going to say the full word. Privileged, unrelatable, and just so much more. Like some really mean, nasty things. And some of them were personal attacks. Like, if you've got so much time off now that you have a personal assistant, why don't you work on losing weight? And other really choice comments like that. And what really fascinated me was they came from a lot of women, but also a few men flat out said that I wasn't a real woman and that I was selfish because I had somebody running errands for me, and that I should be doing all of this without help. And I have to say, at first, I was, I sat with all of this and I kept responding, I get it. This isn't for everyone. It's actually more affordable than you think. But the more nasty the comments got, week after week, the more firm I became in my conviction, and also the more firm my answers became, because I did decide to answer as many of the comments as possible. And today I am standing my ground and I'm leading with my bold heart on this topic. And I'm bringing it to you because I think that as a woman entrepreneur, you need to hear this. So today's episode is a little bit different. It's personal for me. It's fiery. You might get a sense of what my clients at Boldheart know me as. Sometimes feisty Fabienne comes out. And I hope that it's not just a line in the sand moment for me, but maybe for you too, where we get to decide how we live our life and we get to decide how we spend the money that we make ourselves in our own business. Because here's the truth. You could do everything yourself, and maybe you are doing everything yourself. But I'm here to tell you that you are not here to win a medal for doing it all. And yet, somewhere along the way, you and I were taught that self-sacrifice is what makes you a good woman, worthy, admirable. And yes, I say woman, especially a woman. And so today I want to unpack this because I believe that this societal construct that we have, that a woman has to do it all, is leading to the burnout that you're probably also experiencing in your business. So this is what I want to unpack with you today. And I want to talk about what this post really meant for me. I just really observed the whole thing and what the criticism revealed and what it means for the way that we lead, the way that we live as female entrepreneurs, and how we can allow ourselves to be more fully supported without apology. So there's this one comment in particular that really got to me at first. It was from a guy, and I remember I was sitting on the sofa. It was probably actually Christmas week, and my daughter was sitting across on the other sofa, and she's like, "Mom, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm answering this guy's comment." She's like, "Mom, you don't need to answer the haters and the trolls." And I said, "I feel like in my answer, I will actually be enlightening some of the other women who are reading the comments and thinking like, gosh, I am overwhelmed. I do want some more help personally and professionally." And so I forget what this guy said. He's probably like, "You're a bad wife. You must be a terrible mother. You're not a real woman." And my answer was something along the lines of, "So Mark," or maybe it was Chris, whatever. I think I answered the same question to a couple people. "Tell me, I'm just really curious. You do all of your own household chores, right? Like you sweep and you mop the floors. And I bet that you make all of the grocery lists and you plan out all the meals and then you go shop for the food and then you cook it. And please tell me that you're also loading the dishwasher and unloading it at every meal and then reloading it because if somebody else did it, they did it wrong. And Mark, tell me, you do the laundry, right? And you match the socks and you drop off the dry cleaning and then you go pick it up and you return the Amazon boxes. And those pans in the cooking that, are caked on, you're the one who's scrubbing off the burnt off stuff that just needs soaking, right?" You can tell I got really into this. And I asked him, "So you handle all of the household admin and all of the invisible stuff that nobody sees and the stuff that no one notices until it doesn't get done long enough?" And you clean the toilets and you drive the kids to school and to sports. And you're the one who drops everything when the school nurse calls because somehow they always call you and not your partner. Yeah? You could tell I'm getting even more fired up. And I said, you are the one who volunteers for the school outings, even though you also have work to do and you have a job. And tell me, you plan, you invite, you cook, and you host Thanksgiving and Easter and Christmas, and you do all of the gifts, and you set the table, and you clear it, and you wrap the gifts, and you remember the birthdays and the teacher gifts and the thank you notes, and you sew that thing, right, that suddenly needs sewing, and you're buying all of the products that magically refill themselves. And while you're doing all of this, Mark, you also hold the family together in your head. You schedule the doctor and the dentist and the therapist and the haircuts, and you track the school emails and the WhatsApp threads and the permission slips and the deadlines. And you remember who likes what in your family, who's sensitive and who needs checking in on. And you manage the entire emotional temperature of the house. You're the one smoothing out the tensions, repairing what no one even noticed broke. And the camp activities and the vacations and packing for everyone and not forgetting the sunscreen. There's so much more that I said to him. All of the doctor's appointments and all the things, the traditions, the memories. And I asked him, so you do all of this, right, while holding a full-time job, while being productive and reliable. And somehow, Mark, you're expected to do all of this without complaining, even though you're still also holding that full-time job, just like your spouse does, right? So tell me, you do 100% of this yourself, right? All by yourself. Or do you get help from a woman, one who may or may not also have a full-time job or run a 7-figure business? And I said to him, you seem very, very confident when criticizing a woman like me. And I just want to make sure we're playing the same game. And as I'm sharing this with you, dear sister, I just want you to know I wasn't angry, but I was just becoming really aware of the gap that there is in society and the double standard. Because, and you know, I love men, okay? I'm married to a wonderful man. I'm raising 3 children. 2 of them are gentlemen. And this is something that is not talked about enough. This is what we're up against as women entrepreneurs, but also just like women in the world, whether we have a business, we have a full-time job, a part-time job, or we stay at home with the kids and do what society deems to be invisible work, unpaid work. And I think there is a deeper message here, this invisible expectation that we carry as women. This is about more than just getting a personal assistant, a housekeeper, a house manager, even if that person just comes once a week. It's about a system that has trained us women to disappear in service of others. I believe that if we don't say anything or don't get ourselves help, if we can afford it, of course. I mean, I obviously didn't start out that way. It took me a long time to get even a housekeeper. But this is about a deeply ingrained expectation that we must do it all and be it all and carry it all and never ask for help. And I believe that this is self-sacrifice. This is self-abandonment if we don't speak up. I get that if you speak up and you get yourself some support, people could say you're selfish or you're privileged or you're lazy, or they may make comments like they made with me on the reel, like must be nice or only for the rich. And yet no one questions a male CEO of a 7-figure business who has an assistant and a driver and a housekeeper and a personal trainer, a chef, a team of support, or dare I say it, a wife who does all of this. This is Fabienne on her soapbox. That for a man is considered successful. And it's, you know, people say like, oh, business goals, right? But when a woman gets help, it's somehow shameful. And maybe if you read those comments, you can look for that reel. It's called The Personal Assistants from probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. And maybe when a woman gets help, the people around her will consider it shameful that she's somehow failing her duty as a mom, a wife, or that she's not doing enough. And I just want to challenge that today, because this narrative is not only false, it is harmful. And it keeps women like you and me exhausted and resentful and stuck, and keeps us small and overwhelmed, right? And it keeps us invisible. Because I get that in your business, you're already maxed out. You're the bottleneck in your business. But dare I say that you are probably also the bottleneck in your family. And I'm not making you wrong. I'm actually championing you to get the support that you can afford. And I get it. It could be nothing right now, but maybe you can start planning on getting that monthly housekeeper. I've gone since a few years ago to a daily housekeeper. Now, before you start to judge me and to say, wow, the Fredricksons must be very sloppy. We're not sloppy. I just feel like I want to spend the time that I have when I'm not working. I want to spend it with my kids. I want to spend it with my husband and creating memories. And this is not being entitled. I didn't have the money to do this years ago. And whereby years ago I had a luxury car, for me, a luxury is having a daily housekeeper. This doesn't have to be your version of luxury, but I just want to say to you that support is not weakness. It's a strategy. And I am very, very clear that the support that I get, whether it's a house manager that comes once a week, every couple of weeks, or the housekeeper, or, I don't know, getting somebody to run errands for me, that is a business expense for me. It allows me to be fully focused on work when I'm working, and then fully focused on my family in the evenings, the weekends, and the vacations, because I'm not spilling my work over into my personal time. I am definitely on my soapbox about this, my dear friend, because if you're still carrying the weight of your entire household and the weight of your entire business without help, I just want to say this lovingly to you. Like, you don't have to carry it all. You can start speaking up, right? You can start getting help. It's actually more affordable than you think. And here's the business truth that you may or may not be ready to accept, is you cannot scale your business to 7 figures and beyond from a place of depletion. As an entrepreneur, your most valuable currencies are your time and your personal energy. And if you are depleted, or if your mind is focused on all of the errands that you have to do and all of the tasks in your business, you're leaking your time and your energy. And when you do so, you do not have the capacity to create, to innovate, to scale your business from this place of, expansiveness. And so this isn't about Mark or Chris or the reel or the comments. It isn't about outsourcing so that you can work more, my dear sister. It is about creating space so you can live better. This is one of the things I talk so much about with the women who choose to work with me in my Boldheart program. And it's one of the very first shifts that we make. I have them examine where they are over functioning, over giving, self abandoning, self sacrificing, not just in the business, right, where they're allowing other people's obligations to supersede what they want, but also in their personal life. Because as a woman, the two are deeply connected. We know that your business will bleed into your personal life, and your personal life will bleed into your business until you take control. So just once again, you cannot build a 7-figure business with 14 weeks off a year, which is our signature result, if you are still the one doing everything, organizing all the birthday parties and scrubbing the baseboards and being the default parent. You have the right to shift from self-sacrifice to the well-resourced CEO. You can shift from being the doer of everything to the delegator of everything. And you can transform how you show up from chronically depleted or resentful to just deeply supported. And again, it doesn't cost as much as you think it does if you're strategic about it. So maybe that means getting a little help around the house for you. Maybe it means a personal assistant who shows up once a month to return the Amazon boxes or pick up the dry cleaning. And maybe it just looks like you just asking everyone to pitch in much more often than they're pitching in now. And the key here is you don't have to feel guilty about it. That's the old paradigm talking. That's the societal pressure talking. These roles that we've been raised and socialized to accept, but those are two full-time jobs. Your business is a full-time job, and everything that I shared earlier is a full-time job too. Feeling guilty is the old paradigm, the one that says that your value is directly tied to how busy and exhausted you are. And I just want to say, as a woman in business, I reject that. And I just invite you to reject it too, if it feels aligned. So you got to meet feisty Fabienne today, but really I'm here to stand up for you and for all of us women. And I'm here to ask you, where are you still doing things that you resent just to keep the peace? Just because it's expected of you. Naturally, it falls on your plate. And are you willing to question that? Where are you still white knuckling your way through tasks at home and at work that someone else could do for you? That is how we can scale your delicious life and scale your business at the same time. And where are you afraid or feel guilty asking for help because you don't want to be judged? If you're nodding right now, or maybe there's like a tear that's crept up into your eyes, just know this: none of this is your fault. This is conditioning that runs deep, and it doesn't have to run your life. And so if I were to give you something to work on in the beginning of this new year, start by making a list of everything that you do in a week, not just in your business, but in your personal life. And circle the tasks that drain you, the ones that somebody else could be doing, whether it's another family member or somebody that you could hire every once in a while to come and do for you. And now ask yourself, is this the best use of my time and my energy? Could I be using this on my business? Could I be spending more time with my kids? Could I take a spa day on Friday every once in a while if I allowed myself to be more fully resourced and supported? Or is it time to reclaim this space? Listen, we don't change these patterns overnight. We're not going to train the people in our life to start doing everything overnight, but we can change them. And it's one decision at a time, one request at a time, one boundary at a time, one act of self-honoring at a time. And so I want to leave you with this. You don't win a medal for doing it all. You don't get extra points in the game of life for being the most depleted, the most invisible, and the most burned out just because society expects you to, just because your family expects you to, just because you're afraid of what your neighbors will think. There is a different way, and this is the Boldheart way, if I'm just going to be honest. Sometimes people ask me why I have named my company Boldheart, and it's because I want you to take your ear to your heart and listen really hard. What is she whispering to you? What is it that you really want for your life and your business? Are you tired of self-abandoning yourself? And the bold part is about boldly taking action on it. And inside Boldheart, my program, we teach women how to scale their businesses without burnout. And the unexpected place that we often start is by having you reclaim your worth, not just financially, that is important, but energetically and emotionally and spiritually, because you are allowed to receive as a woman, not just give. You are allowed to be supported, greatly supported. You are allowed to also feel spacious and wealthy, dare I say it. I know that word is so, even saying that word as a woman is, usually frowned upon. You are allowed to be wealthy and free. You are allowed to have it all, whatever all means to you, and it's different things for different people. And so I hope that this episode is stirring something in you. Even if you do nothing about it, I want it to plant a seed in your consciousness to stop doing it all and to start receiving support in both your business and your life. And if part of getting more support in your business and your life is to get business help, I would love to talk to you. I don't know if you know, but every month I open up a handful of what I call get acquainted calls with me. They're very, very limited, and because they are a way of me connecting with you at no charge, whether you're a podcast listener or somebody who reads my emails. There is an application process to have one of these with me. And if you'd like to apply to talk with me and have us map out a new version of your business, I want to hear about what's working, what's not, where you're overwhelmed, and what you dream of having your business look like, what you want to make in terms of impact and revenues. And I have this uncanny way of being able to see a bigger future for someone than they can see for themselves and to map out a plan. So if you are interested and you want my help for free to map out a plan together to have you scale to 7 figures with your life back, and what would it look like to reclaim your time and your energy and your joy, you can apply by answering a few questions at boldheart.com/call. I will also link it in the show notes. And by just answering a few questions, and then we'll jump on a Zoom and get to know each other heart to heart. If I can answer any questions about my program and what's possible for you, I would love to do that with you. And just as a reminder, as we wrap up this episode, there is nothing wrong with you wanting more ease and grace in your life. There's nothing wrong with you being done with self-abandonment. You deserve the highest level support possible at work and at home too. I love you so much. I believe in you. See you next time.